We love the Reds, and Ohio State supports the Reds, and we love that it's a bow tie Tuesday, because we're going to have this bow tie. We're going to get everyone to wear bow ties, and all the students are coming out. And then the final thing is that we love Fox Sports Ohio.
So nice to have Dr. Gordon Gee, the president of The Ohio State University, joining us tonight for Bow Tie Tuesday. Crowd rolling into Great American Ballpark. Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Cincinnati Reds. And hi again, everybody, alongside the always dapper Chris Welsh. I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us, and great news for the Reds. Joey Votto is back in uniform, available tonight, perhaps to pinch hit, not in the lineup.
Well, it's taken way longer, I think, than anybody ever thought at the very beginning. When Joey Votto was injured back on July the 16th and had surgery, they were talking about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks at the most, and all of a sudden he had a relapse or he had a problem, and they had to take another piece of cartilage out. One thing led to another. So we're waiting for Joey Votto to finally come back, and I think that, you know, he's hit on the field today. He's played some minor league baseball games. He doesn't feel like he's completely ready, but, you know, Joey Votto's a guy who's going to take his time, and we asked him before the ball game how he feels about the whole injury and him coming back.
I don't think I'll see 100% until sometime during the offseason. I'm talking about being able to play baseball, being able to put myself in uncomfortable positions, and now I would like to think that I'll be able to get through all the games and continue to recover as I play and move through September and hopefully all the way to the end of October.
I'll pinch hit him in emergency, you know, because he's not 100% sharp yet, but he's still Joey Votto. We're going to try to, you know, preserve him and, you know, work him back in there, especially tomorrow's important because we have an off day the next day. So that's big. So anytime there's off day the next day or day after night, you know, a lot of it's going to depend on how, you know, Joey feels.
And obviously everybody hoping that while he might not be at 100%, Chris, he is ready to go for this stretch drive into September, and as he said, hopefully very deep into the month of October.
Well, no doubt about it. I think that once he gets out there and plays a little bit, he'll lose the concern that he's going to re-injure his knee. I think that's probably what's bugging him right now. But when Joey Votto's back and hitting the ball, the Reds can use him in the lineup. There's no question about that.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the pitching matchup tonight. Kyle Kendrick, right-handed for the Phillies, against Matt Latos to the Reds. You're watching Fox Sports Ohio.
Rain chances will be pretty slim. Just a slim chance for that shower or thunderstorm early in the game, then partly cloudy 78 by the 7th inning stretch, down to about 77 and mostly clear as we round out the game this evening. I'm Local 12 meteorologist Michelle Boudoulet for Fox Sports Ohio.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much. Kyle Kendrick, he's been around with Philadelphia a long time.
Called up in 2007 to take the place of Freddie Garcia and to be a full-time starter, but he has not been used as a full-time starter this year until they traded Joe Blanton away, and then he had some other injuries in the rotation. He's a right-hander that's on some kind of a roll, though, right now, I can tell you that. He is 4-1 in the month of August. Matt Latos, he's been on some kind of a roll as well. 27 starts, 11-4, and Matt Latos at home has been awfully good. So we'll see if Matt Latos and that big overhand slider of his can handle the Phillies tonight when he takes the mound. The big guy on the mound for the Reds tonight, they need a win.
And Matt Latos tonight not interested in too much brotherly love. We had lots of that hanging around here yesterday when Philadelphia came away with the opening game win. Phil's Redlegs up next from Great American Ballpark. $150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year by the Regional Tourism Network. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati, USA. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Visit your favorite Skyline Chili tonight. Charlie Manuel has taken the Phillies to 5 consecutive NL East titles. That won't happen this year. But his lineup has Jimmy Rollins, Kevin Frandsen, and Chase Utley at the top. Ryan Howard, John Mayberry, and Dominic Brown in the middle. A latter third of Nate Schierholtz on in right. Eric Kratz catching right-hander Kyle Kendrick. Matt Latos in search of win number 12. It has been a rock-solid first year as a Red for Matt Latos.
Well, at 24 years old, Matt Latos tonight makes his 100th Major League start. Overall, he's 5 games over 500 thanks to the very fine season he's having this year. 11 wins, 4 losses, good earned run average. A lot of people had some questions about Matt Latos as to whether he could pitch in this home run friendly ballpark, but I think he has shown everybody that when he does give home runs up, it's normally home runs with nobody on base. Those solo shots don't hurt you too much. And after he gets done marking the initials of his grandfather into the back of the pitching mound right there. He steps atop the rubber and is ready to go.
And he'll be facing Jimmy Rollins, a .248 batter. Hit his 17th home run of the year here yesterday that really turned the game around in Philadelphia's favor. It's strike one and we're underway. Rollins is one hit shy of 2,000 for his major league career. Only 3 Phillies in their franchise's history have collected 2,000 hits or more, and they're all in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Mike Schmidt, Richie Ashburn, and Ed Delahanty. Two-strike pitch in the air to right center field, and Stubbs is there at the warning track to retire Rollins. The Reds on defense, presented by your Ford dealers. Stubbs flying by Ludwig and Bruce. Only change in the infield from yesterday. It's Valdez for Cozart at short in a battery of Latos and Ryan Hannigan. Latos has never beaten the Philadelphia Phillies in his major league career. Tonight is his 5th start against them, and the first time he has faced them here in 2012. He was the only pitcher that did not pitch in that series in Philadelphia when the Reds had the 4 games set there over a week and a half ago. Kevin Franson at .347. Getting a lot of playing time here over the last couple of weeks down at third base, and certainly making the most of it. He's played very, very well in the month of August and even into September. Franson had 2 hits and 4 at-bats in a Philadelphia win yesterday. Bill Welke calls the balls and strikes tonight. The rest of the judiciary has Chris Guccione at first, DJ Rayburn at second, and the crew chief is down at third, Jeff Nelson. Two balls and a strike on Franson, and it's even up. Cardinals got a win, of course, yesterday, beating the New York Mets in the opening game of their series in St. Louis, and they'll get together again about an hour from now. Reds beginning play tonight 8.5 better than the Redbirds in the National League Central. Reds at 28 games over the 500 mark. The Pirates lost again last night. Didn't lose any ground due to the Reds falling here. Count has gone full on Franson with 1 out, nobody on, just underway. Chase Utley waiting on deck. Gone swinging, and there's that hard slider you were talking about, Chris Welsh.
You know, sometimes you'll see a slider from a righty or a lefty, but it'll go more side to side than it will down. When you say depth to a slider, you mean that ball really goes right straight down. And when you're 6 feet 6 inches tall like Matt Latos and you throw from a very high arm angle, you're going to get depth. And that's what makes that slider so hard to negotiate. Lefty or righty, it really doesn't matter. He gets a lot of strikeouts on that particular pitch.
Two down and nobody on for Chase Utley. Well, again this year, we talked about it yesterday, has missed significant playing time. Tonight, just his 57th game of the year. 9 home runs, 27 runs batted in. Hopper right at Brandon Phillips, and a good start for Matt Latos. He retires the side in order. So Stubbs, Valdez, Phillips against Kyle Kendrick. Reds come to bat bottom of the first. And Dusty Baker's lineup has Drew Stubbs leading off in center, Wilson Valdez at short, and Brandon Phillips at second base. Ryan Ludwig in left, Jay Bruce in right, Todd Frazier at first, a latter third of Scott Rowland at third, Ryan Hannigan catching Matt Latos. Kyle Kendrick pitching in his 32nd game, his 20th tonight as a starter.
He was originally brought up as a starter, as I mentioned earlier. That's when Freddie Garcia initially went down with an injury, and they had this young man in the minor leagues, and he was supposed to be a starter for the rest of his career, but it didn't work out that way. He's a guy that has fallen in love with his cutter through most of the first part of this year, but lately he has scrapped that pitch, and he has pitched brilliantly in the month of July and August, mainly fastball and changeup for Kyle Kendrick.
Bruce Stubbs' batting average all the way down to .219, 14 home runs and 39 runs batted in. Kendrick came up as a young man. He had barely cleared his 23rd birthday in 2007. He was a 10-game winner that year. Won 11 games the next year with a very high ERA. And has bounced between both the starting role and sometimes a reliever over these last couple of years. 1-2 on Stubbs. Two and two on the Reds leadoff man, and that just missed a fastball to run the count full. Kendrick has been very good on the road so far this year, allowing more than a run less per 9 innings, and a leadoff walk to Stubbs.
Now with Drew Stubbs on base, you wonder if maybe you can push the running game a little bit if you're Charlie Manuel. Kendrick this year has given up 9 stolen bases, or make it 6 stolen bases. They have caught 3, so he hasn't really been run on all that much. Of course, in that ballpark, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, plays small, very similar to Great American. But you wonder with Wilson Valdez up there, perfect opportunity here for a hit and run.
Phillies think maybe Valdez is up there to bunt. Of course, who knows Wilson Valdez better than Charlie Manuel and the Philadelphia Phillies. Of course, that's where the Reds got him from during the offseason.
Pretty quick move over there by Kendrick. I'll tell you what, Drew Stubbs went in standing up, and it was bang, bang at first base on the tag.
Well, they let him swing away. It's in the hole at short. And they'll get the forced play on Stubbs. So if you were thinking about letting Stubbs maybe take off sometime early in that at bat, Valdez up there and a ground ball on the very first pitch, and that's the very first out.
Now Wilson Valdez looks like he's got a little gauze tape at the bottom of that bat right there. Might have a sore hand to protect the bottom of his hand on that. You can doctor the bat all you want as long as it does not infringe on the barrel.
So now Brandon Phillips, and he takes down low for ball one. One and 0 on Phillips at 298, 15 home runs, 71 runs batted in. And he waves through the pitch, and it's a ball and a strike on Brandon.
Might not be a big deal, but it's not a good trade-off for the Reds when you trade Drew Stubbs for anybody else on the base paths. And not a lot of patience is played there by Valdez. I'm not sure whether there was a missed sign, whether it was supposed to be a hit and run or what, but you got Valdez down there, really not a base-stealing threat, instead of Stubbs, who certainly would be.
A ball and a strike on Brandon Phillips, and again a swing and a miss, and a bluff that time by Valdez over at first base.
It looks to me like the Philly starter Kendrick wants to get the ball and go, and the Reds are trying to slow him down a little bit. Brandon Phillips really taking his time to get back into the batter's box, trying to break his rhythm a little bit. That's a quick move. Not get off there too far.
Runner goes, and a throw from his knees, and a mighty good throw, but able to get the hand in there. And avoiding the tag of Jimmy Rollins is Valdez, who has his third steal in 4 attempts in the year. What a throw there by Eric Kratz.
Well, he had a good jump, Valdez did, so I take that back about switching to base runner from Drew Stubbs. Kind of a sneak attack right there by Valdez. And Jimmy Rollins has a point. He was arguing with the second base umpire, DJ Rayburn, that Valdez hit the bag and then got loose of the bag, and before he got his hand back on second base that he made the tag on him. But I think that Rayburn was shielded out by Rollins, and that's why they didn't get the out call. So Valdez, a beneficiary of a little overslide right there. He gets his third bag of the year.
Slow roller. Franson charging the bare hand throw. What a nice play by Kevin Franson. Advancing on to third is Valdez. There are 2 out in the inning.
Well, you're not kidding about that. He knows that Brandon Phillips can motor down the line, and he bare hands that ball. But the key for Franson, watch how he eyeballs that ball right into his hand. He doesn't look at first base until after he's got control of the baseball. Reds fans for the last few years have been used to seeing Scott Rowland make that kind of play. Philly fans before that have seen Rowland make that kind of play, and Kevin Franson makes a nice one.
So now the Reds needing a 2-out hit from left fielder and cleanup batter Ryan Ludwig if they'd like to get on the board here in the bottom of the first inning. Valdez at third, and 2 are out. fly ball. Short left. Inning over. So the Reds lead Valdez down at third, and we're scoreless at the end of one. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Phillies have dominated the Reds not only the last 5 games, but over the last 4 years they've owned them.
3 wins last year, make it 4 wins last year, 1 already this year. That's the way those 5 wins add up. Remember that the Phillies have won the division 5 years in a row, and the Reds have struggled except in 2010. Of course, they didn't play well against the Phillies in the playoffs, but you know, this Phillies ball club has been just loaded the last few years, and that's one reason why you look at those numbers and you really should not be surprised one bit. Charlie Manuel's team is used to beating up on the opposition everywhere they go.
Well, over their last 11 games, they've won 8 of them, including that series opener here yesterday afternoon. They pitched brilliantly. They've swung the bats at nearly a .285 clip. They're playing some of their best baseball of the year.
You know, you look at those 5 games that we just showed you, and there have been 5 different losers by the Reds: Bailey, Arroyo, Dontrell Willis, Mike Leake, and Cueto yesterday, and 5 different winners for the Phillies. So they've shared the wealth and shared the disappointment.
Ryan Howard to lead things off against Latos in inning number 2. Matt had a 1-2-3 first inning. Mayberry to follow, and then Dominic Brown. See the numbers: 0 for 8 Howard against Matt Latos, and has struck out every at bat against him. How about that? And of course, as soon as we put it up there that he's 0 for 8 lifetime with 8 strikeouts, he breaks his bat, serves one into right field for a base hit.
I think he's happy to make contact, actually, and he makes contact with the ball that right above the thumbs. That fastball that Matt Latos throws in there to left-handers, and the key to him this year has been, other than the slider that we showed you, has been his ability to throw to his glove side of the home plate. And in order for him to do that from his arm angle, he's got to get way out over his left knee, and good extension towards home plate to get him out there. And that ball just ate up Ryan Howard, but Howard's so strong he just battled it into right field.
So now John Mayberry, he hit a home run here yesterday, a solo shot. has only hit in 4 at-bats. And now 2-0 on Mayberry, and Ryan Hannigan coming out to visit with Matt Latos. Phillies still believe they have a shot in the National League's wild card race, although they are behind a number of teams, not only the leaders for the wild card, as that ball is kissed into straightaway center field, but waiting on it is Stubbs, and that's out number 1. The leaders right now in the National League wild card, Atlanta and St. Louis, followed by the Dodgers, then the Pirates. But then a couple of other clubs still sitting in front of Charlie Manuel's team, including the Arizona Diamondbacks. So they would have to get hot and hope for a lot of help. For that matter, the Milwaukee Brewers have now moved a half game in front of Philadelphia in the wild card. Breaking ball in there, a strike to Dominic Brown. You know, a lot of the National League Western Division teams are playing against one another right now, and of course just about all of us are already in bed by the time their games come to an end. Some of us are in bed by the time their games are just beginning. But the Dodgers are now only a half game behind the St. Louis Cardinals for that second wild card in the National League.
Yeah, the Dodgers have won 3 in a row, but unfortunately for the Dodgers, the Giants, who they are trailing now 4.5 games, have also won 3 in a row. It'd be a fun last few weeks of baseball. That second wild card team thrown in there. You know, you can say what you want about how the playoffs are lined up, about how the winner of the wild card play-in game gets to host the first 2 games of the playoffs against the division winner. You may not agree with that, but the fact is that you have an extra wild card team to watch. It makes a whole bunch more exciting baseball down the line than just for one team or 2 cities to look at. You've got 5, 6, 7 of them now in each league that are in contention.
You know, Chris, really the way these things are going right now, and you know, we'll see how it plays out. Obviously nobody has that crystal ball, but there's always a chance that you could have the play-in game to get to the play-in game.
Yeah.
You know, in other words, say the Dodgers and the Cardinals were to tie with identical records, then those 2 teams would have to play to determine who then would meet in a 1-game playoff against Atlanta. There's a fly ball down the left field line and out of play, and the same holds true over in the American League, where really
you got 5 teams that are within 3.5 games of the wild card lead.
Exactly.
So that would finally give the division leader or winner a real advantage, because if you had a play-in game for a play-in game, the team that eventually wins would have probably used their 2 best pitchers or their 2 most rested pitchers just to get to the playoffs. And meanwhile, the division winner is sitting at home having some workouts, getting strong, setting up their pitching rotation.
High fly ball in the shallow left field, and Ludwig is there, and Brown takes care of it for the second out of the inning. I don't know. I just sit around sometimes and I really wonder, and I'm not going to sit there and claim like I have the answers. It's kind of like the schedule. You know, how would you like to be the person that has to put that thing together for every team in Major League Baseball every year? But it's just sort of hard to believe that when a lot of smart people sat down in a room, how they could come up with the idea that the 2 teams in each league that play a 162 game schedule to earn the right to have the best record, the 2 best records in each league, how it is that those 2 teams have to start the postseason playing on the road. Because let's face it, any team that's in the playoffs, the chances are really, really good that they are a very good home team, an exceptionally good home team. Now, the Reds have been a good road team, but they have been a great home team.
Well, even bad teams are good home teams. So you're rewarding a team who may be great at home, terrible on the road. You reward them with 2 games to start it off the playoffs, and you know they may not have had anywhere near the record overall that the division winner had.
Sure.
So who were those smart people?
I don't know. I wasn't there. And I certainly would have brought no brains to the operation either. That pitch in the dirt, 2-1 on Nate Sherrills. Two and one to count on Sherholtz. And it looked like a pretty good pitch right there. But it's called ball 3.
Now another slider right here. Maybe that was actually it was a slider at the very top end of the zone. And we've explained that Fox box before, but if that yellow baseball or the ball hits any part of that, even if just the outside of that hits the outside of the black box, that should be part of the strike zone. But there is a margin of error to that.
3-1 to Sherholtz. And he swings and fouls it off the mask of Ryan Hannigan, running to count full. And I'm sure Frazier again will play back behind Ryan Howard over at first, who will be running on this payoff pitch.
And the other thing I think to keep in mind as you're watching at home and you're watching a Fox Tracks, it's a great tool. And umpires use it. They get evaluated by the same tool. It's a system that is installed in every major league ballpark, but there is a margin of error. And oftentimes that error is on the high and low pitch because it's not modified for a real tall hitter versus a shorter hitter. So we give the umpires a break and we go with it.
Goes, and it's in the air down the right field line towards the corner. And Bruce up against the wall. Did he get it? He did. What a play by Jay Bruce, sprinting into the corner and able to make the catch. What a play by the Reds right fielder, Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce. Hard to tell from that angle if that was going to be a fair ball or a foul ball, actually, where he caught it. But what a great play.
You know, he's got
like fair ball.
He's got deceptive speed, Jay Bruce does. He's a big guy. I mean, he's 6'3", well over 200 pounds, but he runs very well. And how often do you see it? The guy makes a great play, and he leads the inning off.
Swinging a foul ball straight back. 0-1 to Jay Bruce. Hit his 30th home run of the season here yesterday. Knocked in both Reds' runs in the game. 89 runs batted in. Hit hard, but right at Chase Utley. 1 out. Here's tonight's Farmers Insurance Report Card. On the man named the National League's Rookie of the Month in August, Todd Frazier. Boy, are those good-looking numbers.
Boy, you're not kidding about that. And he comes to the ballpark, I'm sure, starting tomorrow, wondering where or if he will be in the lineup. Here's a guy that hit .330 in the month, 6 home runs, hitting the ball all over the ballpark. And still has that little measure of uncertainty when he steps through the clubhouse door, looks at the lineup hanging on the bulletin board, and find out where he is or if he is in that lineup.
One and one to Frazier. Overall, 18 home runs, 62 batted in, carrying a .292 batting average. Joey Votto figures to be in the lineup tomorrow. At least that's a game plan right now. This one will chase Mayberry into right center field for out number 2. Philadelphia on defense, presented by your Ford dealers. Scherholz out in right field tonight. Same infield we saw last night, and Kratz behind the plate. Scotty Rowland looks at a strike. Of course, the Philadelphia Phillies, a team that originally drafted Scott Rowland out of Jasper, Indiana. Began his major league career there. Was a rookie of the year with the Phillies. And everybody figured he'd be there for a long, long time. But that relationship between Rowland and the Phillies went straight south. They traded him to St. Louis, and they've still been looking for a regular third baseman ever since Rowland left. They've had guys play from time to time there quite well, including Placido Polanco, but nobody with the numbers posted by Rowland during his days in St. Louis. Rolling a .325 batter since the All-Star break. There you see the numbers he posted. Starting his major league career in a Philadelphia uniform. Those are good numbers. But that is a tough town to break into the big leagues, even if you're playing well. You go through stretches where you're not playing well, and it can get downright ugly. Diving play by Utley, who takes a hit away from Rowland, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Kendrick. Nice play by Utley. End of 2, no score. Great American Ballpark, $48. You get the 4 view level tickets and 4 Reds hats. 4 for $48. The Reds and the Astros this weekend. 3-1 Reds. The number to call or visit Reds.com tonight. So Matt Latos here in the top of the 3rd inning of a scoreless game will face 8, 9, and 1. And you may remember that was a part of the lineup that all of a sudden pushed Johnny Cueto off balance during that 3-run 5th inning yesterday. The Reds had a 1-0 lead. Cueto had retired the number 6 and 7 hitters to begin that 5th inning. But then the catcher had a hit. Tyler Cloyd had his first major league hit, the pitcher, in front of a Jimmy Rollins 3-run home run. And Philadelphia never looked back en route to a 4-2 win. Well, you had a good time tonight with President Gordon Gee here from the Ohio State University. Well, what a good sport he was coming up to the booth, and that was his idea, as I understand it. He had heard all about Bow Tie Tuesday and thought you looked mighty sharp in yours and wanted to come down here and join us.
Actually, let me correct you on that. He saw you, and he knows that you're a huge Ohio State fan, and me one day on Bow Tie Tuesday wearing bow ties, and that's when he got inspired. And he finally made it out to the ball yard. And yeah, he was quite loose for a university president. Been around a long time. I understand, as you told me, that he's very much loved up there. Very social, very public as far as school presidents go. I'll tell you what, great guy overall, and I hope to see him out at the ballpark a lot more often.
And I'm sure that he would love to have you as his guest sometime, as Matt Latos is handing off something. I'm not quite sure what that is. From the pitcher's mound. Is that a part of his glove?
I don't know. Luke Stowe took it from him.
He did.
And then just dropped it in the trash can.
And Luke is going to take a pile of heat down there from his dad, probably his uncle, his granddad Bernie, for running out there on the field without a hat on.
Yeah.
Oh, Luke, you are going to hear it.
When you got a full head of hair like that, though, you want to show it off.
What a great kid he is. That entire Stowe clan, a Cincinnati institution in and around, going all the way back to Crosley Field, through all the years at Riverfront, and now Great American Ballpark.
He's a freshman in college, is he not?
Yes, he is. Graduated from Elder High School last spring. It just
seems like yesterday we did a few tech talks with him way back in the day when he was, I don't know, 11, 12 years old. What a nice young man.
Great kid. Great mom and dad. I mean, they are as rock solid as it gets. That entire Stowe clan. They're the best.
Tell you what, on a hot muggy night like tonight, if you had to wear a helmet like that, I think you'd be taking it off about 50% of the time. Even with that dome of yours.
I'm starting to lose mine. There's strike 3 call. Back-to-back strikeouts for Latos here in the 3rd inning. Of course, the Hall of Famer's starting to like his short. In fact, I heard another story today where there were 3 young sales associates, young ladies over at Clear Channel Communications, when he was over there recording some commercials today, that told him he looked like Peter Frampton.
Nice.
Now, look.
Next thing you know,
I'll be the first to admit that I think he looks much better with the hair the way it is right now, and I've been trying to tell him that for years. But I have never once thought he looked like, now Cincinnatian, and has been for a number of years, Peter Frampton. Peter has lived here in the area for a long time, for those of you that don't know that. Married a girl from here and has called Cincinnati home for quite a while now.
Boy, that live album, one of the best of all time.
No doubt about it.
Your dad needs to come out with a live album.
On the ground. Tell you what, a little bit later on, we're going to take a shot at Marty Brenneman and ask you if you think he looks like Peter Frampton. You can still subscribe to MLB.tv. It's baseball everywhere. Reds and Phillies in game 2 of this 3-game set. Well, she's a Reds fan through and through there, Chris, with a Reds t-shirt and that beautiful red head of hair.
A lot of them out here tonight. Wearing the Reds gear. Maybe not as many as we thought would be out here to see the Phillies, but school back in session, as you know well, Tom.
Well, we both know.
Yes, we do. I might have been back for a couple weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the Commonwealth, they get him going early.
Mm-hmm. Ryan Hannigan jumps all over that pitch. A fastball from Kendrick and hooks it into left field. First Reds hit tonight against the Philadelphia right-handed. So now Latos, who has put down 7 sacrifices. Not a guarantee, though, that he'll be asked to put down number 8. I mean, look. Latos has 12 hits so far this year, including a home run. He has 8 hits in his last 16 at bats. Shortens up to bunt on the first pitch. And fouls it off. Strike 1.
Well, what do you think about this strategy? You like the pitcher up there batting in this situation?
I do. You know, I always base so much on what's coming up after him. And I'm not saying that Drew Stubbs and Wilson Valdez are not capable of knocking in the run. Of course we know they are. But, you know, both of those guys have had a hard time at the plate. And I think Latos is a guy who's proven to you that he can show bunt, put on that Butcher Boy play, and can put the bat on the ball.
I do like that Butcher Boy play. The only problem with that play from a hitter's perspective is that once you swing around the bunt and then pull that bat back, you're almost compelled to swing at the pitch no matter what, because you lose the good idea of what the strike zone is. And that's the problem with the catcher running in the number 8 spot, is that when you do have the pitcher laying a bunt down, you got a slow guy on the base pass, and unless it's a really good bunt, if you have a decent defensive play like the Phillies had right there, you're going to get that lead runner. That wasn't a bad bunt, but it was just a nice play by Eric Kratz to come out from behind the catcher's box and not even think about it, just fire to second base.
Latos hustling all the way, and a good clean hard slide to try and break it up by Hannigan. So now it's Stubbs who drew a walk, leading off the Reds' first inning. Stubbs hooks one into left field, a base hit. So Latos will advance 90 feet, and the Reds have 2 on with 1 out for Wilson Valdez.
Well, you get that infield of double play depth. They've got to play a couple of steps closer to the bag, a little bit in also, so that they can get to the bag in case of a ground ball where they can turn a double play. And that makes that hole on the left side awfully big, and Stubbs is able to squeeze a base hit in there.
The Reds had a scoring chance in the opening inning. With a runner at second, 1 out, could not get Valdez in. And now Wilson at the plate with 2 on and only 1 out here in the third. Strike 1 from Kendrick. So frequently this year we have seen Valdez hit that ball the other way. Utley is cheating a little bit to the second base bag. Howard playing behind the runner over at first, so there's a lot of room over there to the right side of that infield for Valdez to try and shoot it through there and bring in a run.
Well, if he gets a pitch that he can do that too. If you got that 2-seam fastball, a right-hander is running right in on your thumbs, that's a tough pitch to hit the other way. He's got a little different piece of lumber up there that he did the first time up. First time he had a completely white bat, and it had a big wrap around the bottom of it. Valdez did. I think he put some pad in there in case maybe his left hand's hurting a little bit. Be superstitious. You don't get a hit the first time, you change the lumber, you change timber.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Latos and Stubbs aboard with 1 out, and Kendrick to the plate, misses away. 2-2. A muggy night tonight, not miserable. We have patches of sun and clouds today, but now with the sun having called it a day, it's a very, very pleasant night. Still 2-2 on Valdez.
Now that's the pitch right there that he wanted him to put in play. He rolls over on a little changeup, and when I would say Kendrick is the one that rolls over on, he pronates very quickly and gets that ball to drop and go down and into a right-hander. That's a tough pitch to handle, and it's awfully easy to roll over it as a hitter and hit her down to the third baseman for a double play ball. trying to keep it in on Wilson Valdez.
Will be the 7th pitch in this at bat. Kendrick against Valdez with 2 on and 1 out. Valdez looking for a hit to break this scoreless tie. Instead, a slow roller to Rollins. They'll get the force out at second base for the 2nd out of the inning. So now it'll be up to Brandon Phillips with runners on the corners and 2 out. Brandon in a slow roller along the infield grass his first time up. Franson came in, barehanded the ball, picked it up and fired a strike in time to get him at first on a real nice play. Valdez at first, held on by Howard. Down at third, it's Latos. And that pitch is high, ball 1 on Phillips. Some of that rain we had here the last couple of days apparently has made its way into Pittsburgh. They're still in a rain delay tonight. The Astros and the Pirates in round 2 of their series. Being held up by rain. Latos is thrown out by the catcher. We go to the 4th inning, no score. Boy says that if not for Jay Bruce's batting average, he would have the numbers to compete for an MVP award. And find all the game notes for Cincinnati season opener Thursday night. The Pitt Panthers come to Nippert Stadium to take on Butch Jones and the Bearcats. Well, that'll be a great crowd down there, I'm sure, on Thursday night. Nippert's still one of the great venues in all of college football to go watch a game. Such an intimate layout inside of Nippert Stadium, where your South Florida team has come in and taken a beating the last number of years, Mr. Welsh.
I think they're back up again. Are they not coming back this year?
I think they are here this year. I think. We'll check it out.
Well, you know, I'm pulling for the Bearcats almost every game until the Bulls come to town. That's a great venue to watch football.
No doubt about it.
I'll tell you what, love going over to Nippert Stadium. All right, here's Latos going back into the bag right here. Watch the foot of Kevin Franzen as he puts his foot down. Matt Latos will slide right into the bag. This can be very dangerous right here because you're going to see him swing his left foot around. Latos going back to the bag with his pitching hand. And if the timing had been just a split second different, Franzen could have stepped on his hand. Latos could have smashed his hand back into the bag. Who knows what happens? You break a finger, you sprain a wrist, you jam a finger. And for a pitcher, it doesn't take much to a hand injury to get him out of a ball game and maybe lose a few starts. So I guess being thrown out of third is the least of the damaging things that could have happened on that play for the Reds.
So no score. Latos throws strike one to Franzen, the man who just tagged him out down there a moment ago. Utley to follow, and then Ryan Howard. And Latos a fastball in the inside corner to jump ahead 0-2. Franzen struck out back in the first inning.
You know, I should say, Tom, that blocking the bag like that with your foot or your knee is not allowed on the amateur level. Either in high school, I think in college they disallowed that now.
Pop up to Frazier. Why is that?
Well, because because of injury or potential injury. You don't want somebody blocking the bag without the baseball, laying your knee down there so a kid slides into the fielder. You want to leave the bag open. So just thought I'd bring that up.
I was not aware of that.
I think it was a recent rule change, if I'm not mistaken.
And I am told by Mr. Tenzing, an old buddy of mine, who tells me that November the 23rd, it is the last home game of the season. South Florida will be at Nippert Stadium.
All right.
David, thank you.
Get a little action on that game, like a pizza.
I'm still waiting for you to pay me for the action we had last year during the NCAA basketball tournament when the Ohio University Bobcats put a licking on the South Florida Bulls in the NCAA tournament.
2 pizzas.
That's back in March. They're going to start the next NCAA tournament by the time I get paid.
Well, you didn't mean real money, did you?
No.
Didn't think so. So make it 2 pepperoni pizzas.
I'm in. That one's fouled away on a 2-0 pitch by Utley. Oh, boot down there. Boy, just as his girlfriend or his wife was coming in. How good would he have been looking if he makes that play right when she's coming back to her seat? And a boot. Three and one now on Utley.
You know, Matt Latos is one of those pitchers that consistently bucks the trend. And what I mean by that is, on a normal night, a pitcher usually, if he throws two different kinds of breaking balls, a slider or a curve, usually he only has one of those working on a particular night. We've seen many nights where Latos has been equally as good with the curveball and the slider.
That's a curveball there.
Yeah, the curve comes in the 70s and the slider comes in the 80s miles per hour.
Well, he got the high strike that time after not getting it in the last half inning. And that one is lined into right center field. And Stubbs will get to it. Utley's going to slam on the brakes. And Chase a little upset with himself that maybe he didn't make that turn and try for third with one out in the inning.
Well, it wasn't his choice. I mean, he did what good base runners do, which is you take a look at it and then you look to the third base coach and see what he says. And when he got near the second base bag, he glanced over down third base to Juan Samuel, and Samuel was holding him up. That ball stuck underneath the pad out there. I thought he looked at Samuel. I guess he made that decision on his own. And then as it turned out, the relay throw was bobbled, and he kind of second-guessed himself. But he can still hit a fastball. For all the physical problems Chase Utley's had over the last few years, he can still hit a fastball.
So can Ryan Howard. He had a broken bat single in the right field, his first career hit in 9 at-bats against Matt Latos. That came leading off the second inning. And that fastball got a piece of Howard. Two on and one out. Fox Sports Ohio would like to welcome Reds fans from The Ohio State University. They're part of our special guest on the Fan Express to Reds Country tonight. For more information on how you and your group can get on the Fox Sports Ohio Fan Express to Reds Country, call 513-765-7600 or visit reds.com/Fan Express. Nice to have some of the Buckeyes here with us tonight, including their president, Dr. Gordon Gee. Ball one away on John Mayberry, who flied out to Stubbs in the second inning. Phillies threatening, really for the first time tonight. A one-out double by Utley. Howard hit by a pitch, and now a ball and a strike on Mayberry. This young man's father was a very fine player, wasn't he, Chris?
Played a long time. I want to say from the late 60s all the way into the 80s.
And of course, a lot of those years he was playing in the postseason, seemingly year after year after year, on some of those very fine Kansas City Royals teams that could not get past those New York Yankees during the mid-1970s.
Now, the one thing that's holding this Mayberry back is that split right there between lefties and righties. I mean, he really hits well against left-handed pitchers and has more home runs and many fewer at-bats. Almost only half as many at-bats. It's that right-handed slider that'll get you every time if you pull off the plate at all, and that's where they're going with this pitch again.
So now 3-1 on Mayberry with 2 on and 1 out. And straight up in the air over the screen and out of play. The count goes full on John Mayberry Jr. Dominic Brown waiting on deck. Latos would like to find that 6-4-3 double play and worry about Brown when the Phillies bat in the 5th. Three balls, 2 strikes. Utley and Howard on the bases, and the pitch. Ball 4. They appeal down to first and nothing doing, says Chris Guccione, so they are loaded.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt Latos thinks that the call of the pitch, without the swing involved at all, that he had the plate and he had the height. Might have been a tad low right there. Mayberry's a tall guy. Fox Tracks likes that pitch.
Well, Latos was ahead of Mayberry, and then he fell behind 3-1, ran the count full before missing on the payoff pitch. And now the Phillies, after a 1-out double by Utley, have Howard hit by a pitch, the walk to Mayberry, and here comes Dominic Brown with 1 out.
This guy's just about the exact opposite of John Mayberry. He hits right-handers much better than he hits left-handers.
You can see Latos shaking his head. That frustration over that last pitch is not going to do him any good right now. One and 0 to Dominic Brown, and that one bounces up there, and runner's going to stay put. Boy, Latos is really upset. Snapped his glove on the last throw back from Hannigan. Snapped the ball with his bare right hand after Bill Welke flipped the ball to him around the home plate area after that last pitch.
Well, you want to use it as motivation as best you can, but you've got to be able to channel it. Motivation, not frustration.
Three balls and no strikes. Phillies lead 1-0.
Well, let's look at that at bat one more time. Brought to you by Mazda, our pitch by pitch. He just walked John Mayberry to load the bases on a very close pitch. And they've been trying to pitch Dominic Brown inside. First a fastball, then a slider, a fastball up and in, not even close. And 3-0, you want one down the middle, but not that time. And he walks him on 4 and walks a run in. And Brian Price is out there to do a little checkup on the neck up, just to try to settle the big right-hander down a little bit. I mean, it's hot. You're frustrated by the strike zone. You think you got jobbed on a couple of pitches. You're angry with yourself. Things aren't going good. You got picked off third base the inning before to end the inning. So a lot of bad things are going through his mind right now. The best thing you can do is kind of step off and try to take a little cleansing breath. That's what Brian Price probably told him to do. Well, he's not been able to get that first pitch in there. That is 6 for 16 first pitch strikes for Matt Latos, and he's one of the best strike throwers on this Reds pitching staff.
Boy, all of this started after a 1-out double in the inning. It has been hit batsman, walk, walk since then. It's a ball and a strike on Nate Shearholtz. And Sam LeCure begins to throw now in the Reds bullpen. Phillies with the bases loaded, 1 out. And another pitch misses off the inside corner of fastball. 2-1 to Shearholtz.
Well, he keeps going to that inside fastball and keeps missing that inside corner. That's usually a spot that he can dial up when he needs it.
Crowd facetiously cheering the umpire, no doubt, after some very close pitches, especially during the John Mayberry at bat. Latos thought he had him struck out on a 3-2 pitch with 1 out in the inning. Still 1 out. A run in, the bases loaded. And now the break-even pitch on Shearholtz. Line into center field. And was it caught by Stubbs? That's a double play. That is a double play if it was caught. If it's not caught, It's going to be a double play anyway to end the inning.
Well, it was the umpire's call was a first base umpire, Bill Welke. He made the call, but it was a very questionable call. Not Bill Welke, Chris Guccione, the first base umpire.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out, did he catch the ball? Well, the Phillies are looking for answers, and so is Charlie Manuel.
Manuel's confused, and Dusty Baker probably happy to have to argue. A line drive to center field. You can't tell her initially whether Stubbs catches it, but he does not, as you see right there. Now, as we saw it in real time, Tom, the throw comes in here, and they tag second base. Ryan Howard, with a tag second base, you're going to get the runner. Somebody's going to be out. It's either Howard for getting tagged up off second base, or it is the runner from first base going to second base is out on the force play. So either way, the Phillies are going to get an out right here. Either Dominic Brown is out or Mayberry is out. And that throw to the plate, Bill Welke says, nope, there are 3 outs right there. So I'm not so sure. I think that Charlie Manuel went out to talk about the play, not to argue it, because he realized that any way you cut it, there was going to be a double play.
That's exactly right. So, Jim, they had to call based on what we saw in that replay right there, because there was not another runner that was forced out if he trapped the ball. The Reds got a force out at second base. They didn't get another force out at any other base because Hannigan never touched the plate at home when he caught the ball. They didn't tag another runner. So the call by the umpire had to be a catch by Stubbs and Wright. Jim Day, am I right on that?
That is exactly what the Reds bench has been told, that it was a catch, and they doubled up the runner at second base who was off the bag. Now, Hannigan, when he got the ball at home plate, touched home plate just in case they called that a trap. But the call, it's according to what the Reds bench was told, that it was a catch, and they doubled him up at second base.
The ground one, the very first pitch here in the bottom of the 4th inning with the Phillies leading 1-0. If we took the rest of that entire replay, Ryan Hannigan alertly, not knowing for sure, but after initially not touching home plate, hung onto the ball, then made a U-turn out by the mound and came back to the plate and did touch home just in case.
Well, I think the confusing thing is that the runners, including all the runners for the Phillies and Hannigan stepping on the plate, looked around, and there was really initially no umpire that made the call, safe or out on the catch. And finally, the first base umpire made the call on the catch. Chris Guccione said that Stubbs caught the ball. As it turned out, that was a wrong call. And the Reds get the beneficiary of the double play.
Well, that is a huge break for Latos and the Reds.
Ooh, you're not kidding.
So a 1-0 ball game. Ludwig the batter with 1 out against Kendrick here in the last of the 4th inning.
Would have, yeah.
Swing and a miss. Ludwig flied out to left, stranding Valdez at third base in the opening inning. Shallow left center field, easy for Mayberry, and Kendrick operating much like we saw the young right-hander Tyler Cloyd here yesterday, just picking him up and mowing him down outside of that Reds threat there in the third inning.
Yeah, and he doesn't appear to have a real good put-away pitch. He's got a fastball that tops out around 90 miles an hour, normally 87, 88, 89. He's got a good changeup. He's got a little bit of an unusual delivery where he has somewhat of a hesitation and kind of a dart thrower's move. But he's pretty much scrapped his cutter, and that's a pitch that has been very important to him over the last couple of years. In fact, he got to throwing that thing about 30% of the time last year, and they started beating him up a little bit this year on it. He said, you know, I'm just going to scrap it, go fastball changeup, and that's really the way he is. The motion might be a little deceptive. Kind of holds it right there, hides the ball very well. That's not a full effort motion at all.
Reds have 2 hits in a game, and both of them came in the third inning. The leadoff single by Hannigan, then a 1-out single by Stubbs. But Valdez followed with a fielder's choice for the second out of the inning, and with runners on the corners and 2 outs in a third, Latos picked off third by the catcher Eric Kratz. 3-2 now on Jay Bruce. Jay, his first time up, hit the ball very hard, but right at Chase Utley. Reds playing their 137th game of this 2012 championship season. And there's a slow roller by the mound. This might be a hit. And Bruce legs it out. Utley was playing so far back, shading Bruce to pull the ball, that if the pitcher wasn't going to get there, Bruce more than likely was going to leg it out, and that he does with a 2-out infield hit.
Bruce runs well, and you're right. When you've got that second baseman playing in right field, really, he's got to come a long way. Once it gets by Kyle Kendrick, that's going to be a base hit. That is the 5th infield hit of the year for Jay Bruce.
Slow roller foul. You know, before the ball game tonight, with the Bengals season starting on Monday night, they'll be on the road in Baltimore. Their big 1-2 combo of quarterback Andy Dalton and receiver A.J. Green. Dalton throwing out the first pitch, wearing number 14. A.J. Green wearing jersey number 18. It's interesting to note, as A.J. Green has hung around for a while to check out the ball game. Well, what an unbelievable rookie year he had last year.
About that.
Out of the University of Georgia. But Joe Luckham, our statistician, pointed out to me before the game, those are 2 numbers you never see worn by Cincinnati Reds. 14, we know who wore that number forever, and number 18 has already been retired. Isn't that interesting? A grounded foul.
Fascinating. Now,
Of course, number 18, for those of you that don't know, I beg your pardon, there's some out there that don't know that is a retired jersey in Reds franchise history of the late, great Ted Kluszewski.
Now, what are their Bengals numbers, do you know?
That's their Bengals numbers, 14 and 18. That's why they wore them, but I was just making a note that you never see those numbers worn by the Reds.
Wide receivers had to wear.
They can wear really anything they want, I think.
I thought they had to wear higher numbers than that.
I think they can wear them really low or really high. Nowhere in the middle.
Okay.
But you would be correct in that observation, and most of them are in the 80s.
Yeah.
But some of the greats have the lower numbers, and A.J. Green is on his way to being one of those guys. There's a slow roller. Franson going to glove it this time. I want to tell you, he's made 2 nice plays tonight. A hit, a man left. We go to the 5th. Reds still down by a run.
Hear the fans' reaction. That's what I'm most curious about, because I miss them. I miss playing here. I love the support, and I love playing in front of the fans that come to this ballpark and cheer for the team and me.
That's Joey Votto today, fresh off the disabled list. Jim Day with you. And I tell you what, when he does come into the on-deck circle or takes his position at first base, that reaction is going to be something here in Reds country. Now, guys, after the cameras left, Joey Votto was very candid today. He said this whole experience has humbled him in the fact that he realized now that he's, in his words, not king baseball, that no one is above the game, that his team can, in fact, do well without him. He can go down to the minor leagues and not play well like he did on this rehab stint. And he said it gave him a whole new perspective on the game, and that he's as motivated as ever to get back to the Joey Votto we're used to. But Joey Votto, if you guys have talked to him, he's one of the most thoughtful guys at giving an answer to anyone on any subject, the media or anything. And he was very candid today, and I think, as he said, this game has humbled him a bit.
Well, Jim Day, you are 100% correct about that. In regard to Joey Votto, and a guy who is so driven and cares so much about not being good, not being great, about being the very, very best. And he wants to be the very, very best his first day back in the lineup, whenever that is. Hopefully it's tomorrow afternoon.
Well, this game has humbled everybody who's played it at one time or another. Although great players like Joey Votto don't get humbled nearly as much as mediocre players. But it's really a game of failure. I mean, when the best hitter in the league is making it out, 7 out of 10 times, and that's where your benchmark is, that's the type of game it is.
That is a foul ball on the butt attempt by Kendrick after the leadoff single by Kratz.
Same kind of setup in the lineup for the Phillies as the Reds have. You've got the catcher, the number 8 hitter, the pitcher, the number 9 hitter. Not much speed out there in Eric Kratz. So if you're trying to get him along on a sacrifice bunt, you don't make a real good bunt. Brian Hannigan jumps out, fires a second base, gets the lead man just the way Eric Kratz did to nail Hannigan.
Kendrick slams his bat on the plate in frustration after fouling away the 2-strike pitch. And for Latos, that is his 4th strikeout tonight. I'll tell you what, Chris, I don't know if it's me, and maybe you would totally disagree, and I'm not saying that you wouldn't be right. But it just seems to me that the art of bunting, even pitchers bunting, has deteriorated dramatically all over Major League Baseball just in the last couple of years. I mean, we go into play teams and you look at guys around baseball. You know, Cueto's a guy that has 15 sacrifices this year. So obviously he's very good at it. But, you know, it seems like more times than not, you get to the month of September and you're facing teams whose pitchers have made 24, 25, 27, 28 starts in the year. Latos making his 28th. When you see starting pitchers that only have 5, 6, 7 sacrifices and they're making their 27, 28, 29 start, there are a lot of those guys around the league.
I agree with you. I mean, if Johnny Cueto can lay down that many sacrifice bunts, why can't everybody else? Cueto was one of the worst hitting pitchers I'd ever seen when he first came up. I mean, a lot of the guys are scared of the baseball. Now, granted, maybe guys are throwing harder now. I don't know.
They are.
Radar guns say that.
Yep.
Of course, the radar guns measure it differently now than they did 20 years ago. They measure it now out of the pitcher's hand instead of in front of home plate. So, you know, you can't tell me that Matt Latos is throwing harder than Bob Gibson or Jim Maloney. I'm sure they're in the same range. But it's a matter of getting out there working at it. Simple as that.
That is a base hit. A chopper over the head of Frazier down the right field line by Rollins. And Jimmy Rollins into second base with a double, sending Kratz over to third.
Well, you get the bunt down. You know, if you're sitting in the dugout like Kyle Kendrick is, he's thinking right now, if I get that bunt down right here, but first of all, it probably would have been an out because there'd been a man on second, and then Frazier would have been playing back. It would have been an out. But that ball with a high hop goes over his glove.
And they take that ball out of play. Told you coming into this game tonight, Jimmy Rollins 1 hit shy of 2,000 in his major league career. So that is number 2,000. And congratulations to Jimmy Rollins. Second straight inning of a major jam facing Matt Latos. He got a line drive double play with the bases loaded ending the last inning. So 0-1 on Franzen with runners at second and third an inning later. Infield drawn in. There's a catcher down there running at third, and there's a slow roller that will not bring in the run. Roland will throw out Franzen. 2 out. Should be noted that Rollins reaching 2,000 hits. He is the 30th switch hitter in the history of Major League Baseball to reach that mark. Of course, baseball's all-time hits leader, a switch hitter, wore number 14 right here in Cincinnati, and for that matter, he also donned a Philadelphia Phillies uniform where he won a World Series as well. So now Chase Utley pulled foul. Utley doubled to right center field and scored the only run of this game on that bases loaded walk to Dominic Brown in the 4th. The Mets and the Cardinals are scoreless in the 2nd inning at Busch Stadium. Finally underway in Pittsburgh after better than an hour rain delay. They're in the bottom of the 1st inning. The Pirates still batting and out to a 1-0 lead over Houston. Here it's 1-0 Phillies. Pratt's a runner at 3rd base. Jimmy Rollins at 2nd. 2 outs, and it's 0-1 on Utley. And a ground ball. That is a shortstop, Valdez. So good work again by Madaletos, 2nd and 3rd with only 1 out, and the Phillies fail to score. Listed players will be the first to strike out in the 8th inning. And if you're not playing along, please join us on FoxSportsOhio.com every Tuesday night through the remainder of the year, and winners will be announced in tonight's post-game show. 1-0 Phillies. You know, we were talking earlier about the Hall of Famer Marty Brennaman, and with Dr. Gordon Gee in town, the president of The Ohio State University. You've been working on my dad to put on a bow tie. We talked earlier how 3 young ladies earlier thought that Marty Brennaman looked like Peter Frampton. You know what? They might be on to something here.
You're right about that. You know, that I think is Marty's going green bow tie.
Well, he looks very dapper in that bow tie.
If you take a really close look at that, you might be able to tell that that bow tie is a $100 bill. So Marty goes green, in a manner of speaking.
Well, that was the idea originally of one Ed Shepard, who's known as really the George Steinbrenner of Mount Adams.
And he's also the purveyor of many very nice bow ties that are being worn by the staff around here tonight and myself. Eddie supplied me with a big box of bow ties. He's a big supporter of Bow Tie Tuesday. In fact, the idea may have originated with Eddie Shepard on Bow Tie Tuesday.
Well, I think my dad ought to start wearing those more regularly.
Looks good on him.
He looks very handsome. And reminds me a lot of Peter Frampton. Broken bat roller off the back of the mound, and Rollins will throw out Roland to begin the 5th inning.
I'm glad he got in the spirit anyway.
Well, that going green line, it was one of the great ideas. There is a green laundromat, green meaning environmental green, up in Mount Adams. And the idea was to have Marty Brenneman as the primary spokesperson for that laundromat, standing out on the corner during the wintertime, holding a sign that Marty has gone green, and to come on in the laundromat.
But the green to Marty has more to do with dollar bills than the ecology. Well, he looks good in the bow tie nonetheless.
Reds down 1-0 as they bat here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. So, Dad, thanks for being a good sport. You originally had asked him about doing that tonight. He said he's had all the fun he's going to have in 2012.
That's right. Not quite September 15th yet. He's had a full share.
It's not September the 5th yet.
You're right. Well,
I tell you what, we like to have fun at his expense. And I know he's my dad, but I tell you, he is a piece of work to be around on a day in and day out basis. Is he not, Mr. Welch?
He is. He livens everything up.
Really does.
The dinner before the ball game, once you get your paperwork done, you go in there in the media dining room and sit down with him and Marty's court.
Game on. 1-2 pitch. And again, Hannigan. That's the second time tonight he's teed off on Kendrick. So a perfect 2 for 2 is Ryan, and the Reds have a tying run aboard. If a Red hits on a Toyota sign tonight during our game, Dave Wheeler of Hamilton, Ohio, will win that new Tundra. And you can register for your chance to win at an upcoming game. Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Letos tried to put down a bunt his first time up and bunted it just like that in front of the plate. That is a fair ball, and the runner is out at the plate. And a tag was made there, and Charlie Manuel's going to come out and say, hey, wait a minute now, that's batter interference.
Yeah.
And you should call the runner at second base out as well.
Bill Welke's going to meet him halfway and explain before Charlie even says anything.
I just wonder if he'd have gotten the interference if he'd have just thrown the ball down to second base. It didn't look like he had possession of the ball.
No. But I'm still kind of curious about that call by Bill Welke, because it looked like Matt Letos interfered with a fielder fielding a batted ball. But he got in his way. Maybe picked it up and dropped it. I'm not sure how. We may have to make our way down there after the ball game and ask him.
So now Drew Stubbs, he has been aboard twice in the game. Reds have a tying run out at second base. Stubbs trying to tie it up at the very minimum with a base hit here. Spins out of the way of that breaking ball. 1-0 to Drew Stubbs. We're in the bottom of the 5th. 1 run, 4 hits for Philadelphia. No runs, 4 hits for the Reds. Fastball just off the outside corner, 90 miles per hour there from Kendrick.
That's about where Kendrick tops out, too. Ways of control has been very good. One side of the plate, then the other side of the plate, changing speeds. Never the same pitch twice.
2-1 now to Stubbs. Hannigan leads at second. And he started to, couldn't pull the trigger.
Same spot, but that time he pulled the string.
Reds had a runner at second base, 1 out, a runner at third, 2 out in the first inning, couldn't score, had runners on the corners with 2 outs in the third, failed to score, and now a runner at second, 2 outs here in the fifth, and a 2-2 on Stubbs from Kendrick. Struck him out, inning over. 1-0 Phillies in front. Creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers, visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile today. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
Well, don't forget to join the Reds on Sunday, September the 23rd for Fan Appreciation Day, presented by Walgreens. Cheer on your Reds at Great American Ballpark, and don't miss all the drawings for fans throughout the game, including gift cards and more. So for tickets to see your Redlegs take on the Dodgers, that is Sunday, September 23rd. Call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com today.
And by the way, just so those of you know, that is not the final home game for the Reds this year. That's just the final weekend home game. They'll play 3 more days after that Sunday, wrapping up the series against the Dodgers against the Milwaukee Brewers. Then, as many of you know already, the Reds will hit the road for their final series, a pair of series to end the 2012 season. Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Pittsburgh. And then the first 3 days of October, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. where, by the way, the Cardinals are still batting in the second inning with a 3-0 lead over the Mets. Ryan Howard leading things off in the Philadelphia 6th inning. Phillies 1, Reds 0. On the ground to Frazier. And that's the way things start here in the Phillies 6th inning. Time to take a look at our AT&T trivia question tonight. On this date in 1999, the Reds hit 9 home runs against the Phillies. Mercy. Which Red had multiple home runs? Well, I'm sure you were doing that game, Chris Welsh. You're in your, what, 19th or 20th year doing Reds baseball this year?
Mm-hmm.
Well, which is it?
20th.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was a, let me see who hit home runs that night.
Well, looking back on that 1999 team, I wasn't here at the time, but knowing that club, they went all the way to the one-game playoff to get into the postseason that year, losing to Al Leiter and the Mets at Riverfront Stadium. But remembering that team, my first guess would be Greg Vaughn.
Yep, that would be a good guess.
Eight different Reds hit home runs in that game. So you could guess really any position on the entire team. Larkin on those teams. Look at Roland. Golly dang, is that smooth. Oh man, is that nice. Makes it look so easy, doesn't he?
He sure does. Just solid down there. Doesn't panic, doesn't try to do too much with it. Gets himself down low. Look where his head is relative to his glove when he catches that baseball. He's not standing straight up trying to backhand that ball way down low. He gets his head right there and watches the ball go right in the glove. Man.
Dominic Brown fouling away. First pitch in the at-bat, 0-1. He drew the bases loaded walk from Latos for what is so far the only run scored by either team tonight. That was back in the 4th inning. Latos had allowed a double, hit a batter, walked a batter in front of Dominic Brown before walking him. Strike 2. And as is normally the case, we're starting to see Latos now. The deeper you get into a game, the harder he seems to throw. And last fastball at 93 miles per hour. Just chewed him up and added that. Slider in on his hands. All right. 2, 3, and 4 in the batting order coming up. Reds down 1-0. Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing on Fox Sports Ohio. No television tomorrow. It'll be radio only. And the Subway Sub Prize on the line for the best record in Major League Baseball this season. And well, right now with a one-game advantage would be the Washington Nationals. Game and a half advantage, I guess technically, 2 in the loss column. Nationals are pounding the Cubbies again tonight in D.C. 8-1 that game in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here the Reds trail 1-0. The Kyle Kendrick and the Phillies, after being primarily shut down yesterday by Tyler Cloyd, right-hander who made his second major league start and wound up picking up his first big league win yesterday.
I mean, the Reds really aren't even having very good swings. They didn't have great swings yesterday against Cloyd. They're not having very good swings tonight against Kyle Kendrick. Well, he's just, you know, the last 2 pitchers the Phillies have thrown out there show you what you can do when you control the outer part of the strike zone. I mean, just go down and away at the knees, and if you can hit that spot, you're going to get a certain number of outs. It kept Kevin Franzen busy tonight.
Wilson Valdez 0 for 2 tonight. Twice has hit ground balls at the shortstop Rollins, I beg your pardon. Swung on and fouled back out of play. First 2 strikeouts all night long for Kyle Kendrick, coming on the last 2 batters he had faced. Stubbs to end the 5th inning, and now Valdez to open the 6th.
Yeah, we told you at the very onset that the Reds are facing a pitcher tonight, and Kyle Kendrick, who's really been on a roll. He was 2-0 in the month of July. Did not give up a run. Now, he only had 1 start, but he appeared in 8 ball games. And in the month of August, he's 4-1 with an earned run average under 3, so he has been really rolling right along. Picked up 4 consecutive wins in his last games: Miami, Milwaukee, Washington, and the New York Mets.
Brandon Phillips robbed of a hit on a fine play by Franzen, the third baseman, in the opening inning, and hit a routine ground ball to Jimmy Rollins his last time up. A bonus strike on Brandon Phillips. Reds down 1-0. That didn't miss by much. 2-1.
Same spot, changing speeds. I don't think he's thrown a breaking ball all night. I mean, he's thrown a couple of cutters. I wouldn't classify those as breaking balls, but that's just a changeup right there that he fires up there.
They get the out on Phillips at first. And the first two easily retired by Kendrick here in the Reds' sixth inning. We answer our AT&T trivia question. Reds hit 9 home runs in a game on this date, 1999, against this Phillies team. 8 different players hit home runs. I would have never guessed Eddie Taubensee. What about you?
I looked it up and found out that it was Eddie Taubensee. Those are all the guys that did hit home runs. That was actually the second game that year in which the Reds had scored more than 20 runs. They had previously scored 20 or more out in Colorado in that big blowout they had out there. But you're right, Greg Vaughn went deep. But he didn't have 2 of them.
Sean Casey was not on the home run board that night either.
No. I mean, if you hit a home run on a game like that, no one remembers unless you hit 2 of them. But if you hit a home run in a 1-0 ball game, those are the kind of games that Casey would save his home runs for.
Swing the bat, man.
You're not kidding about that.
0-2 on Ludwig. And that one just punched into right field, a base hit. Nice 2-strike hitting there by Ludwig.
Really educated swing by Ryan Ludwig. I mean, he's standing on the on-deck circle, and he's sitting in the dugout. He's watching the Reds go up there one after another, and Kendrick hasn't pitched inside since about the 3rd inning. A little cutter going the other way on a 2-strike count. It's worked all night long for him. And finally, our Performance Honda slow-mo of that real good swing by Ryan Ludwig. Gets a base hit on an 0-2 count to right field now. Maybe Jay Bruce can run into one.
Jay 1 out of 2 tonight. He's grounded out to second at an infield hit his last time, and he was trying to run into that first pitch, and he pulled the string on him, had him way out in front. 0-1.
You know, one of the games the Reds won, we showed you how the last 5 games the Reds haven't won against the Phillies here in Great American Ballpark. They did beat them twice in 2010. One of those was against Roy Halladay, and Jay Bruce had a 2-run home run in the 8th inning to win that ball game for the Reds.
Remember that well. That was getaway day.
Yeah. It's an afternoon affair, if I remember.
Yeah, indeed it was.
And it was very unlikely because Halladay was just mowing him down. Johnny Gomes had a base hit right before him, and Bruce jumped on the first pitch he saw from Roy Halladay and went deep. The Reds will be seeing Roy Halladay tomorrow afternoon. A good game to come out and watch. Mike Leake, Roy Halladay, game not on television. If you want to see it, come on down to the ballpark live.
Expecting good weather tomorrow. No rain in the forecast. 12:35 first pitch. 2-1 delivery. And he ran into one. Will it clear the wall? Indeed.
Like Kyle Kendrick went to that well one too many times with that changeup, and he got it out over the plate. Jay Bruce, who was fooled badly on the first one he saw, ends up knocking that one out of the ballpark, and he's got 31 of them on the year.
It's 31 home runs and now 91 runs batted in for Jay Bruce.
Well, that's a big one right there.
Huge
1-0 ball game.
Well, you just got finished saying you win a 1-0 game and you hit the home run. Everybody remembers it. Well, maybe they'll remember the 2-run home run by Jay Bruce.
Kind of a bloop and a blast. An 0-2 opposite field base hit. Chucked into right field by Ryan Ludwig, and then a laser beam of a home run that puts the Reds up 2-1.
Well, he's on one of those rolls right now that when he gets on, look out. And he's hit big home runs here lately. A big come from behind win on Sunday down in Houston. And the Reds trail 3-0 in the 8th inning, and Bruce hit the first pitch he saw from the Houston left-hander to the seats second deck in right field, which tied the game. Reds wound up winning that one 5-3. They're now down 1-0 with 2 outs here in the 6th. A 2-run line drive to the second row and right. Frazier gone swinging to retire the side, but Jay Bruce flexing his muscles at the most opportune time. Reds 2, Phillies 1. Latos picked off at third to end an inning. Phillies have the bases loaded with 1 out. And this line drive that turned into a double play, ending to Philadelphia fourth. Latos again right in the middle of a bunt attempt and turned into a successful sacrifice. Back in the 5th inning. And on the mound, Latos has been mighty good. Outside of struggling with command, where he hit a batter, walked 2 batters, including walking in a run in the 4th. He's allowed the 1 run on 4 base hits. And Jay Bruce, a 2-run home run to give Latos his first lead tonight. So bottom part of the order. Here in the Philadelphia 7th inning, it'll begin with Shearholtz, then Kratz, and then a pinch hitter, one would assume, for Kyle Kendrick. Strike 1. Seems like more times than not, after your team gives you the lead, that first batter in an inning can go a long way in keeping momentum or losing momentum. Matt has fallen behind Shearholtz. 2 balls and a strike. Two to Shearholtz, starting the Philadelphia 7th. And a fastball misses inside. Kratz Rats on deck, and then a pinch hitter for Kendrick. Lindblom beginning to get loose in the Philadelphia bullpen, and now to pay off pitch. Struck him out.
I'll tell you what, he's got that slider working now. There was a time in the ball game where Matt Latos really had a hard time getting the ball in there on the first pitch strike. He was 6 for 16. Ever since that time, he's something like 7 for 8. So he's really tidied it up a little bit. His control is much better. And he throws a bottom dropping slider on that 3-2 pitch to send the Sherholtz back to the bench.
Count on Kratz, and excuse me, roller back up the middle. Valdez throws and got it. Looked like the two might come close to bumping into one another, and Valdez had to straighten up a bit before he let it fly, but still has time to get Kratz.
Kind of an odd looking play. Check swing. Remember, the catcher's running, but Brandon Phillips stays out of his way. Good concentration by Valdez. Picks up and out. Well, the defense has been good tonight, like normal.
Well, now a pinch hitter, the one-time Red, part of the 2010 National League Central Division Championship Reds, Lance Nix. Kendrick 6 innings of 6-hit 2-run baseball, but he gave up the 2 hits with 2 outs in the 6th inning, including the home run to Jay Bruce to give the Reds his current 1-run lead. We're in the 7th with 2 out and none on. And Nick's a big swing and a foul ball back. Kendrick walked 1, fanned 3. But now it's Latos. 1 out away from 7 strong frames here tonight. And a 1-1 on Nix. 2 balls and a strike. Latos with a win would go to 12-4 on the year. This will be his 100th pitch of the night. And it's in the air, and this should end the 7th inning. Matt Latos, 100 pitches, 7 innings, 1 run allowed, and a 1-run lead. And on September 8th at Great American Ballpark, the first 20,000 fans through the gates get a 2012 team photo. And don't forget, the entire weekend we have our 4 for 48 ticket offer. 4 view level tickets, 4 Reds hats. 381 Reds, a number to dial for tickets, or log on to Reds.com. A lot of high-fiving and fist pumping going on in that Reds dugout when Matt Latos came in off the mound. And he walks over, and a big pat on the back for Ryan Hannigan. So that would lead you to believe that the night is over after 100 pitches in 7 innings from Matt Latos.
Oh, they are hopeful that Matt will nail down win number 12 on the year.
Scott Rowland leads things off, and that one's fouled and out of play. Latos spot due up third here in the inning.
Got number 11 his last time out. That was out in Arizona. And a new pitcher for the Phillies, Josh Lindblom.
Holy Moses.
Got one higher than that?
That one just got away.
Now the dugout back in the day, somebody would say you're supposed to hold the dry side.
This guy's had a nice year.
He's been in a lot of games. He's up among the league leaders in number of games out there, now with 64 of them.
Two and two to Rowland. Scotty 0 for 2 tonight. Utley took away a hit from him on a diving play to the glove side in the second, bounced out to third, and now a strikeout to open up the 7th inning. Double barrel action. Broxton, the right-hander, joined by Marshall, the lefty. Of course, you've got the switch hitting Rollins to begin the inning. Right-handed batting France in second, and then left-handed batters Utley and Howard due up thereafter in the top of the 8th. So more than likely we see Broxton to begin the inning. Marshall to follow. Xavier Paul standing in the on-deck circle. That's Matt Latos' spot. It's Ryan Hannigan, a perfect 2 out of 2. And a good play by Franson, who has made 3 really nice plays in the game at third base tonight. Sometimes you get a chance with another team, Chris, and you never know what might happen in your career. That could be the case for Franson.
He was an up-and-comer with the San Francisco Giants. He never worked out there. He gets a chance over here. He spent some time in the minor leagues, and he's played as a really nice third base. Kind of a dirt player.
So Paul to bat for Latos, who goes 7 innings tonight, allows just the 4 hits and 1 run. Got out of a couple of huge jams in this game. That bases loaded line drive double play to end the 4th, and then in the 5th inning with 2nd and 3rd and only 1 out. They got Franson on a tapper to 3rd. And Utley on a ground ball to second base before retiring what would eventually be the final 8 batters he faced in the game. 6 strikeouts against 2 walks and a hit batsman. And a guy sitting to his left right there gave him the 1-run lead, Jay Bruce, with his 2-run home run. 0-2 to Xavier Paul. Well, what a job this guy's doing. There's a base hit in the left. Paul hustling into second base with a double.
Nice.
You know, you talk about a change of venue. I mean, I think a lot of people, when Xavier Paul was signed by the Reds after getting turned loose, and then they brought him up shortly thereafter to the major leagues because they had no left-handed bat on their bench, and everybody thought, well, this experiment probably won't go well. And now all of a sudden, if the playoffs started tomorrow, there is virtually no doubt at all that Xavier Paul would be on the postseason roster.
Absolutely. And that's an educated at bat right there, just trying to protect the dish. That's the kind of base hit you give up as a pitcher on an 0-2 count. You think, man, oh man. Is the guy lucky? Is he good? That was a good pitch I made, and I gave up a double. Now I got to worry about giving up a run here in already a 1-run ball game.
Stubbs tonight has walked, singled, and struck out. Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Visit the new Cat Canyon exhibit at Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. Make it a weekend getaway and book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. 3-0 on Stubbs. And there's a strike. Well, you can just tell the way that Drew Stubbs is swinging at that outside slider. His heart is just not into it. Three and two on Drew Stubbs. Throw a fastball right by him, and that'll end the inning. I love this bar and grill. Johnny Rockets, Moorline Lager House, and the Holy Grail and Grill. Pre-game, you can enjoy drink specials. Have the Carpetland music stage going on. Lots in the fan zone. Then come right in the ballpark from Joe Nuxall Way. Reds and the Astros over the weekend. 381 Reds, or visit select Kroger locations. And as always, you can log on to Reds.com. Reds 2, Phillies 1. Top of the 8th inning. Matt Lato's 7 outstanding innings as a starter. And now they give it to the bullpen, beginning with right-hander Jonathan Broxton.
Well, this ball club has been so good when you get late in the ball game with a lead. Bullpen has been pretty much airtight all year long. When they lead after 7 innings, and the Reds are leading right now 2-1, 63-6. And the addition of Jonathan Broxton should help that this month and hopefully in the playoffs, and he'll get the top of the lineup.
Jimmy Rollins, who picked up his 2,000th career hit, his last time up. First pitch swinging, high fly ball, backing up Bruce. 1 out. Well, you knew falling out of bed that Rollins was looking fastball first pitch, and he was swinging. He'd been doing that for better than 12 years. Sean Marshall ready in the bullpen. Told you they have left-handed batters due to Phillies following the right-handed batting Franson, who digs in now with Utley and Howard. Fastball in there, strike 1. Two and one to Franson, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Reds leading by a run. We're in the 8th inning. 1 out and nobody on, and Broxton to the plate. Fastball away. 3-1. Franson checking that bat, had a funny sound to it coming off that foul ball. And now an extended walk out of the batter's box. I think the umpire asked him if his bat was broken and saying, no, it's all right, waving that thing around. Dribbler out in front of the plate, fielded by Broxton. The underhand feed to Frazier. They're 2 outs, and now in a 1-run game. Decision time for Dusty Baker. You have the left-handed batting Chase Utley coming up. Do you come get Broxton and bring in Marshall, or do you stay with Broxton to come after Utley?
It looks like he's going to stay with Jonathan Broxton.
Well, there can't be any doubt as to whether or not Sean Marshall is ready. He has been up for quite some time. And you can read the lips of Brian Price. Is he ready? But Dusty Baker right now going to stay with Broxton, at least against the left-handed batting Utley. You saw Logan Ondrusik get up, which makes you believe that should Utley continue the inning, maybe Marshall comes in to face Ryan Howard. Should you go any further than that, you have a right-hander to come in to face Mayberry.
Now this is where, if you're Dusty Baker, you've got so many different weapons to use down there, and you can burn one pitcher for one batter here in the 8th inning, because you know the 9th inning belongs to Aroldis Chapman.
One and one on Chase Utley, who's 1 of 3 in a game, doubled to right center in the 4th, and he beat him with a fastball there at 96 miles per hour to get ahead 1-2. Well, you got to believe the Reds are going to stay away from Utley here. Now, 96 in on your hands is tough for a lot of guys to catch up with, but Utley rarely hits opposite field home runs. He is more than capable, as we've seen already tonight, of hitting a good fastball.
Yeah, but he doesn't like that pitch on the inner part of the plate. All night long, Matt Latos has tried to bury him inside. He doesn't want to go inside and then miss inner third. That's when he begins to drop the bat head.
Well, we go away with a fastball. That with a 97.
That's always the safest thing to do, and more often than not, you see these guys who have been closers. I remember for years here watching Francisco Cordero peck away at the outside corner, really never coming inside, and his reasoning was, if somebody's going to beat me with a home run, I want it to be an opposite field shot.
Well, it makes perfect sense. 2-2 to count now on Utley. Well, they came in and got in where they wanted to be. And a ground ball ends the inning. A perfect 8 for Broxton. Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, a former Buckeye, and Joey Harrington, all in the studio. Part of the Ford Fox College Saturday pregame show. Then 17th ranked Nebraska will go out west to take on UCLA. Fox College football Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Reds with a 2-1 lead as they come to bat here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. And again, Charlie Manuel going to his bullpen. And this time he will hand the ball to P.J. Rosenberg. Rosenberg brought up from Lehigh Valley, their AAA team, the first week of August the 3rd. So Lindblom goes an inning, allows a hit and a couple of strikeouts on the heels of a fine performance by Kendrick, who allowed 6 hits, 2 runs in his 6 innings, but gave up the 2-run home run with 2 outs to Jay Bruce, which gave the Reds his current 1-run lead in the 6th.
Yeah, I'm wondering what determines, I have to ask Wilson Valdez, what determines what bat he will use in a particular at bat. That's the one he used in his first at bat of the game. Get a fielder's choice. Use a different bat without that padded gauze-like look at the very bottom. Get a fielder's choice with the other one. So now he's going back to the first choice after had a strikeout his last time up. All I can tell you is what they tell me about golf clubs. Sometimes it's not the Indian, it's the arrow. Actually, the other way around. Testing you again.
Yeah, I knew.
That applies to me.
And 2 on Valdez, and there's a tapper to the right side. 3 hopper picked up by Edley. And a leadoff man retired here in the Reds' 8th inning. Well, coming up after the game tonight and every night, we'll break it down on Reds Live. Chris Welsh will be there with Jim Day and Jeff Picoro. Brought to you by King's Honda and a King's Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. One on Brandon Phillips. Aroldis Chapman cranking it up down in the Reds bullpen, preparing for what he hopes will be a save try in the 9th inning. Right now it would be Reds with a 1-run lead with 1 out and nobody on here in the last of the 8th. Josh Hall, our producer of Reds baseball. Roy Alfers, our director. Like Lauren White, Matt Sigafus, our entire crew up here in the booth. Dickie Moss, Jesse Jackson, Joel Luckham. Check swing and a miss. And apparently did not go around. Thought the home plate umpire Bill Welke had made that call. He appealed down to first, and Chris Guccione said no. So 2-1 on Brandon. May have gotten a break there. For a quick and delicious meal the whole family will enjoy, try JTM's beef or chili chicken Philly steak kits. That's JTM. And Phillips looks at a fastball right down the middle, 3-1. You're taking a peek around the corner to the Philadelphia ninth. Big Ryan Howard, then John Mayberry Jr. and Dominic Brown. Two on Brandon. We'll do it once more. Again, a day game tomorrow. 12:35 first pitch. No television tomorrow. Mike Leake, Roy Halladay. We'll have it for you on the Reds radio network. Then an off day for the boys on Thursday. And then right back here on Friday night. Tickets available throughout the entire weekend against the Astros. Night games on Friday and Saturday. Day games Sunday. Before the Pirates come in for 3. And Brandon gone on a breaking ball. And 2 up, 2 down here in the Reds' 8th inning. Really outside of the 2 swings of the bat that came consecutively in that 6th inning. It has been an extremely quiet Cincinnati offense again tonight. And really, it's been Jay Bruce. I mean, Bruce knocked in both of their runs yesterday, and he's knocked in both of their runs tonight.
That was the 3rd time this year that Jay Bruce has a string together of 3 home runs in 3 consecutive days.
Joey Votto expected to be back in the Reds lineup tomorrow. At least that was the early indication before the ball game today. And then obviously, as Dusty Baker said, that is subject to change. And what will this Reds lineup look like tomorrow when Votto comes back? Will it be Brandon Phillips leading off?
Well, I got to figure with the day game, you're probably going to give Scott Rowland a rest at 3rd. So Frazier will probably play 3rd. And I would imagine that Brandon Phillips will be back in the lineup at the leadoff spot.
Probably see Kozar back in there, probably in a 2-hole.
Yep, long time since we've seen that.
That is a walk to Ludwig. Jay Bruce had home run to right field with 2 outs. And a man aboard to make it a 2-1 Reds lead. With a left-handed batting Bruce coming up, Charlie Manuel looks like he's going to bring in a left-hander from his bullpen. And by the way, for those of you wondering, when Scott Rowland went down the 2nd week of the season, it's been that long since Brandon Phillips has hit leadoff. So be our skyline.
Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
1 on, 2 out. Reds with a 2-1 lead, batting here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Now Jake Diekman, the left-hander, in to face Jay Bruce, who has knocked in 7 of the last 9 Reds runs.
This kid's got a good arm now. Recalled for the 2nd time from the AAA franchise. He can get it up there pretty quick.
Cardinals are leading the Mets 3-0. That game in the bottom of the 5th inning at Busch Stadium. Jay Bruce making the comments even after a loss last night. And in no way, you know, for those of us that have gotten to know Jay Bruce through the years, I mean, he is the last guy in the world with any bravado, any cockiness, any arrogance about him. And in no way, if you read it one way, you might think, oh, there's a little bit of that. It's not what he meant. After the game, when he said, look, we're not worried about the Cardinals. He just said, if we do our job, we don't have to worry about anybody. And he's 100% accurate. If you just go out and win games, a team cannot make up 8.5 games with 32 to go if you continue to win. You start losing, you got something to worry about. Dennis Phipps now the pinch runner over at first base for Ryan Ludwig. In their strike, 3-1 to Bruce.
I imagine this kid's not a real pleasure to hit off of if you're left-handed, especially being as wild as he is. Sidearm delivery, kind of funky.
There's ball 4. We might have another pitching change by Charlie Manning.
I would imagine so.
Boy. Rains are spilling all over the field here in the 8th. 2-1 Reds lead with 2 on and 2 out. We're back in a moment. One by Rosenberg, the other by Diekman, and now a 3rd straight pitcher will come into the ball game. Justin DeFreitas to face Todd Frazier.
2nd year in the major leagues. He was up for 5 games last year. DeFreitas was. He's another big guy. They've got a lot of tall pitchers on this pitching staff. Maybe not as tall as some of the Reds out there in their bullpen. 6'4", 215 pounds. First appearance of the year yesterday. 1 inning with 1 walk. Todd Frazier will be his man. Frazier trying to break an over tonight.
So Frazier with a chance to give Aroldis Chapman a little breathing room. With 2 on and 2 out, and DeFreitas delivers and way outside for ball 1.
It's an odd pitch right there, although Todd Frazier's a good fastball hitter. But DeFreitas has been known to throw that ball as hard as 98. He's on the 60-day DL with an elbow problem coming out of spring training.
Frazier, and now he's ahead 2-0. On Frazier, and a swing and a miss. Well, you talk about pennant races beginning to heat up. They're on the verge of going to the 9th inning down in Tampa, where the Rays lead 5-2. Baltimore has already won tonight. Here's a 2-1 on Frazier. And that just missed, not sure where.
I think he locked up everybody on that one, including the umpire. Puts Frazier in the driver's seat, though. That count now going, instead of 2-2, it goes to 3-1. Or you're wailing away on a heater right here.
Well, he beat him on a 2-0 fastball. We'll see if Frazier is more dialed in on what figures to be a 3-1 fastball. Scott Rowland waits on deck. He beat him again. So now the runners on a 3-2 pitch and 2 away will get started. Frazier today named the National League's Rookie of the Month for August, where he knocked in nearly a run per day in the calendar month. And a big pitch right here. 3-2 with 2 on and 2 out. Ran a fastball in on his hands and got a piece of the bat. Oh, by the way, finishing that thought just very quickly, if the Yankees lose that game at Tampa Bay, the Baltimore Orioles, who at one point in time trailed by 10 games in the East, would be tied for first, and the Tampa Bay Rays would be a game and a half out. Mercy.
Are they panicking in the Bronx?
Looking. 3-2 on Todd or Frazier.
Even more meaningful, I guess, for the Orioles, since they've got a former Yankee skipper running the O's right now, Buck Showalter.
3-2 pitch on Frazier. And there's ball 4. 3 consecutive 2-out walks from his Philadelphia bullpen have loaded the bases for Scott Rowland.
Well, Charlie Manuel's got to figure he might expect that. Tight ball game going to really youngsters out there. Rosenberg, Diekman, and now DeFreitas have all been in the minor leagues this year. I bet when he started the season, he never thought in his wildest dreams that he would be where he is in the standings right now. Now with the payroll that they have, and running out 3 rookies in a ball game in September, down by 1.
Ball 1 on Rowland.
Well, the more balls he throws, the tighter that zone gets. Well, you got to be pulling for Bucky Showalter out there in Baltimore, don't you?
Done an unbelievable job. There's no doubt about that.
You guys were together in Arizona for so long. One
1-0 on Rowland. Oh, struck out a breaking ball 1-0, and a good one at that.
Been telling me for years what a big fan you've been. Just wanted to see the guy get another job in big leagues. He finally landed one, and boys, he turned that team around.
He
got to be mighty proud of him.
Without a doubt. One and two now to roll him. Two now on rolling, and here it is. Fastball up and in. Reds with a 2-1 lead. 2 outs, batting in the bottom of the 8th inning. Former interim Red skipper there, Pete Buchanan, standing alongside Charlie Manuel. Pete is Charlie's bench coach. 3-2, 2-2. I beg your pardon on rolling. Fouled away, barely fouled away. Well, that breaking ball looks like the main weapon after DeFreitas runs him up there 95, 96, 97 miles an hour. You can see why they like his arm. Trying to deliver a bases loaded 2-out hit. Fly ball in the right, and this will retire the side. So Aroldis Chapman will come into the game trying to nail down a 2-1 lead, and he'll square off with Howard to begin the inning. Most of the fans that are here standing, light bulbs flashing each and every time. That man, Aroldis Chapman, comes into the game. He has a 2-1 lead. Chapman has been nothing shy of spectacular, nearly untouchable against National League teams. The only 2 weeks he had where he wasn't on his game all year long was a stretch during interleague play. Against National League teams in 55 games, he has 32 saves and 33 chances, and in 59 2/3 innings has allowed 2 runs. with 108 strikeouts. His last blown save came against Minnesota on June 24th. Today, for the second straight month, was named the top relief pitcher in the National League. You hear it all the time, power against power. Never more so than this matchup. Chapman v. Howard. Chapman pitched. In Houston, nailing down that 5-3 lead for a save on Sunday afternoon. Came with a 1-1 slider there, and it's fouled back out of play.
That'll loosen you up a little bit. That's the one you hope you see the best. We dropping a slider on him right here?
No. I'm throwing gas.
Oh, when he throws this ball up like that, if it's above the waist, you can pretty much forget about it. That ball clearly in the glove before Ryan Howard's able to get the bat going. You know, that and the fact that you stand next to Aroldis Chapman, and his legs are so long, and he has a long stride, and by the time he lets loose of that baseball, he's a lot closer to home plate than most every other pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Now Mayberry.
So the radar gun really only tells part of the story. That tells how fast it pitches, but what it doesn't tell is how much reaction time the hitter has from the time it leaves the pitcher's hand. If you're 6 inches closer to home plate like he is compared to a lot of pitchers, that cuts that reaction time down big time.
Well, back-to-back fastballs. He's come in on Mayberry. That one just missed him. It's 2-0. Well, we know Mayberry can hit a fastball. And he is figuring on getting a 2-0 fastball right here and right now from Aroldis Chapman.
Well, there are fastballs, and then there's an Aroldis Chapman fastball.
Three-0. One out here in the ninth inning. Reds 2, Philadelphia 1. Chapman has fallen behind Mayberry at 3 balls and no strikes. And you saw Hannigan almost willing Chapman to get that ball down and away, and he finds a mitt right on the target. 3-1. Old number 1 again. This one's upstairs, and he went around, said the home plate umpire, Bill Welke. That Philadelphia dugout is letting Welke have it. Starting with Charlie Manuel.
Well, Chapman's control has been very good. He's only walked 2 batters in the entire month of August. Two batters in July.
3-2 again on Mayberry. And he missed ball 4. So the tying run aboard. Potential go-ahead run coming to the plate. And they're going to pitch hit for Dominic Brown.
It's Ty Wigginton. Guy's a good fastball hitter too.
He is.
Short arm, short swing.
Wigginton waits and a throw over to first base, and they nearly got Mayberry napping a little bit over there.
Got a big lead.
Wigginton, you may remember, had a base hit, had a single off Chapman in Philadelphia. And high hopes for Wigginton when they brought him in this season, coming off a very good year a season ago. Got up to a great start in April. It's been tough for him at times since. Trying to chase that high fastball, and Chapman ahead 0-1. Mayberry with those long legs, it'd probably be easy to assume that he's a good base stealer. That one fouled back over the screen. It's 0-2. He has only attempted one stolen base with the Major League club this year. Successful. Reds with a 1-run lead here in the top of the ninth. 1 on and 1 out. 0-2 on Wigginton, and Chapman delivers. Fastball just off the inside corner. Well, they are really coming after the inner part of the plate. These Philadelphia last two right-handed hitters in Mayberry and now Wigginton.
Do you think he's doing that on purpose?
Well, Hannigan's setting up in there. I mean, you know, I don't know if he could hit every spot every single time. They're coming in there again. And it's in the air. Backing up Ludwig. And they're 2 away in the inning. That's the kind of pitch, the last save that Chapman blew. Who was it, Josh Willingham?
Yeah.
Right-handed batter for Minnesota hit that ball in the seats.
It was indeed.
Fastball, they were coming in. It was left right down the middle of the plate, and he hit it 8 miles out of here. So now Placido Polanco, who has been a very good player for a long, long time, will come up and bat against Chapman. You see his numbers. 2 out of 2 against the Reds closer. Generally a guy who will put the bat on the ball. Polanco's had over 2,000 hits in his major league career, closing in on 1,000 runs scored. He's won a Gold Glove at 2 different positions. Strike 2. And now Chapman tries to put this one to bed. Chapman is Of course, the ultimate strikeout pitcher in pursuit of the all-time single-season Major League record of nearly 18 strikeouts per 9 innings. Polanco, on the other side, has always been among the toughest batters in baseball to strike out. But he got him here, and that's it. Aroldis Chapman. A pair of strikeouts, a walk in the ninth. And how about the pitching from Latos, Broxton, and Chapman to nail down a 2-1 win?
Well, they did not get much offense tonight. It was only that home run ball after an 0-2 two-out base hit by Ryan Ludwig that Jay Bruce